Hey guys, today I wanted to do a creepy video for October, and it is about the Bell Witch haunting. The story has always creeped me out, yet it's very intriguing and it involves a lot of old history, so I really hope you guys enjoy it too. So let's get into it. So this story takes place in Red River, Tennessee, aka Adams, Tennessee, as it is known today. This is back in 1804. There was a couple named John and Lucy Bell. So, times were really rough back then, and John and Lucy and 10 other families decided to move from North Carolina to Tennessee. They started farming and had bought land, and they were doing okay. John bought over 300 acres over the years. So, one other family that moved with the Bells, called the Batts family, were dealing with a farming injury. Frederick Batts, the man of the house, suddenly couldn't work anymore. This was detrimental to their income, so they ended up having to sell parts of their property. And one of the people who wanted to buy their land was John Bell. Yes, John was likely the wealthiest person in town, so he had to have more, of course. He got a good deal on the land, and when Frederick's wife Kate found out how much it was sold for, she was very upset. She thought that they were being taken advantage of. She said the land that was sold to John was worth far more than what was paid, and John got the better end of the deal. This really upset the whole Batts family, and apparently Kate Batts swore that she would make the whole Bell family pay, whatever that meant. John then decided that he would purchase a slave from Frederick's brother, Benjamin, a human slave, as this was pretty common back then. However, this slave was a young girl. John had let the girl stay with her family for a while, but was getting close to coming back and taking her with him. Finally, the girl was old enough to come work for him, and John went to pick her up. But Benjamin said the girl was worth far more now, and he wanted John to pay more. But John said, "No, I have already paid, and that's that. A deal is a deal." So the girl went with him. And this is when the Batts family had major problems with the Bell family. The Batts thought that John was a jerk and he would just buy people off with money. This caused a lot of people to resent the Bell family, small town talk. Kate Batt, Frederick's wife, was now the head of the household. Her kids were too young to take over, so it was all up to her, as Frederick was injured. She was strong, tough, didn't really take a lot of BS. She could be loud and hostile, so people didn't like her. And this is when people accused her of witchcraft. So keep in mind, this is in the early 1800s, and there were thousands who were accused of witchcraft, and most of the time it was just false. They even accused her of injuring her husband and causing his farming accident. But now, let's jump into the actual Bell Witch haunting. In 1817, John was hunting on his large land, and he says he came across a creature-like animal. He described it as a dog with the head of a rabbit, so very creepy indeed. He said it had black fur and was growling and snarling at him. So he had his gun, and his natural instinct was to shoot at it. And when he went to inspect it, it was gone. It had just disappeared. So after this specific encounter, the Bell family started to have crazy stuff happening inside of their home. The whole family claimed that at night it sounded like stones were being thrown at their house from all directions. They would instantly go outside to investigate, but there would be no one there. They also claimed to hear doors and windows creaking open, animals howling and snarling, and scratching sounds from inside their house. So imagine just sitting there and hearing all of this all of a sudden, and knowing that there's nothing there. So they tried to ignore it. They tried to not really let it affect them until there started to be physical attacks. One night, their 14-year-old daughter Betsy woke up to sounds of scratching on her walls. When she tried to get up, she realized her hair was tied around her bedpost. Then, she started to be attacked. Something was slapping her and hitting her, and she couldn't get up. John and Lucy heard her screams and ran to her room. They saw that she had red welts all over her face. These attacks started happening to her and her younger two brothers more often. Then it moved to John. He started having facial paralysis, tongue swelling, and welts all over him. So at this point, they definitely felt like they were being haunted. But by what and why? Some of the slaves that worked for the Bell family said that there would be random animals around their house, and many of them even mentioned a talking donkey. Betsy said she would see a little girl in fields and trees when she would go out for a walk. The girl would disappear seconds later. Still, the activity did not stop. So John reached out to his friend, James Johnson, and asked for help. James was a religious man, and he wanted to pray and banish the spirits. When James asked the spirits what its name was, he claimed it said Kate. Remember, Kate is the wife of Frederick Batts, the one that hates the Bell family. James could have been making this up, of course, so who really knows? But why would he really have an incentive to say Kate? John needed extra help, so he decided to reach out to the community. He told everyone what was happening inside his home, and word spread like wildfire. Many people came to the house to see it in person and to try to catch the activity themselves. Eventually, the story got so big that Andrew Jackson, military general and future president of the USA, wanted to see it for himself. Andrew Jackson took a couple of men with him and went to the Bell House. As he and the men were riding up to the Bell House on their horses and carriage, the wheels on the carriage completely stopped working, even though there was nothing visibly wrong with them. Apparently, Andrew then said, "It's the witch boys." And after that, they heard a voice saying, "All right, General, let the wagon move. I'll see you again tonight." And then, apparently the carriage started moving again. I don't know if this is real or not, but it's very creepy either way. And why would a man such as Andrew Jackson lie about something like this? So the original plan was for Andrew and his men to stay for several nights. But because the activity was so great, they only stayed for one. It was too much for them to handle. It's reported that Andrew said, "I would rather face the entire British Army than stay at the Bell House for one night." After this, John and Lucy's health really deteriorated. Lucy had a lung infection, and she said that Kate would come to her bedside and care for her. Over time, Lucy got better, but John got worse. On December 20th, 1820, John was found dead in his own bed. One of John's sons claimed he went in his dad's room and found a small bottle of a cloudy liquid near the bedside. He thought it was poison, as he could smell a foul, indifferent smell on his dad's breath. Of course, they blamed Kate for this. John's death was actually ruled a death by supernatural forces on official death records. Apparently, after John's passing, all the activity in the house stopped. People believed John was the main target of Kate, and when he was gone, she didn't have a reason to haunt them anymore. So John's daughter, Betsy Bell, soon got engaged to a man named Josh Gardner, and soon after that, Betsy claimed to have seen the same young girl in the tree on her walks in the field, who warned her not to marry this man. Betsy called off the wedding. She married another man and ended up having 8 children with him. People claim to this day that the area is still haunted and that the Bell family members still claim there is activity. Bob Bell, who is a direct descendant, claims that in his grandmother's house, all of the dishes in a locked-up cabinet would be thrown out. However, not a single dish was broken. Apparently, there's a cave nearby to the old Bell farmland. People say that that's where the Bell Witch resides. A man had visited the cave and took a rock from it. Apparently, it's known that you should not take anything from the cave, and there are signs which state this. So within 3 days, 3 horrible things happened to the man who took the rock. He lost his house, his job, and his wife passed away. So that is the story of the Bell Witch haunting. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's just a creepy urban legend, or do you think it holds some merit? So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed.